The first thing that we are going to dive into is the Batman. The Robert Pattinson, Matt Reeves Batman movie that we've been hearing about for a while. They're adding everyone and your mother to this cast.
Whoever's the casting director of this film should get the highest bonus in Warner Brothers history.
Yeah,
this is ridiculous.
Because they are saying, we are not screwing around with this Batman. We are going to throw everybody in the kitchen sink at this movie, and if the way it's going, it's going to pay off gloriously.
Yeah, and before we do get started, we'll go out and say that none of this has become like official. It's all final negotiations, or that they're in conversations, or like they've agreed to it, or figuring out the money. Because Jonah Hill agreed to it, but then they figured out the money, and then he ended up not being cast in the film. So we just want to make sure that we're saying this hasn't actually happened yet.
Yeah.
But most of the time, about 95% of the time when it's final negotiations, it does happen.
Yeah, not until that check is cut.
Exactly.
That we get these actors for sure. But we already know we have Robert Pattinson playing Bruce Wayne, the Batman. We already know we have Zoe Kravitz, that she's playing Selena Kyle, Catwoman. We got confirmed that Jeffrey Wright was playing, oh my god, I almost called
Commissioner Gordon.
I don't know why, but I almost said J. Jonah Jameson, and I was like, what?
Because he did play Commissioner Gordon in Justice League.
So, we have that. Anyone else that we know of for sure before we get into
Paul Dano's Riddler.
Paul Dano's Riddler. That's the one.
Riddler. Those are the five. Four.
Four that we have. But yeah. We now have some new names to add to that list, and that is first being Andy Serkis playing Alfred Pennyworth. Jake is very excited about this, so I'm gonna give you the floor on.
Well, let's say this first. I'm ecstatic about this because Andy Serkis is probably one of my favorite working actors today, and that's saying a lot because
working everything.
Well, because most of the time he's not even himself in a movie. He's playing some kind of creature or something. Mm-hmm. But the main reason why I get excited for this is because he's working with Matt Reeves again. And you know how I feel about the Planet of the Apes movies. Specifically the Matt Reeves.
Jake, and you don't know that he is in love with Planet of the Apes.
It's one of my all-time favorite geeky franchise. Kind of pop culture franchises. Like it just kind of, and the Matt Reeves specific ones, Dawn and War 4 are two of the most incredible installments of the franchise. Anyways, that's why I get
you going.
Yeah, I know. I can talk about that all day. I can talk about that all day. But that's why I get so excited about this. But the interesting here is that you know that I've been saying this for months now. I said we can go back on the casting table.
Oh,
we were there. I think it was our second ever episode. I said Andy Serkis is going to be cast as the Penguin.
Yeah.
And I called it. I was like, he's going to be the Penguin. Like that's who it's going to be. It makes sense. Reeves is directing this. It just fits the build. It's interesting that he's playing Alfred. It's a very, very different type of role, but it's also a clear indication of what type of Alfred they're going for. And
it's not going to be your standard butler.
No, it's not. But let's keep this in mind. He could have very well have gone in there and been like, "I'm going to audition for the Penguin." But here's the interesting part: he may not be able to do the Penguin because of how big the role is, because he's directing Venom 2.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
And maybe they gave him Alfred as a job like, "You're not going to have to be here that much, but we want you in this universe, and if you can be a part of Batman's life rather than be on the opposite side, you're going to still be able to do Venom 2 because that's coming up too."
Yeah.
They're basically hand-to-hand with each other as far as time-wise.
Good point.
And he's also probably going to star in Venom 2 in some kind of role.
Something.
He always directs and stars, or is at least supported in the movie.
Well, maybe, depending on
who they do.
They connect it.
Depending on what they do. Yeah. So, it's going to be interesting. But I have a feeling that probably had to play into it. As far as him as Alfred, I see a lot of people are like, this is kind of an odd choice. That's why I like it, because it's so different. And we're gonna get to that with our next casting as well, because that's also another odd choice. But it works for me, because I said this in our chat, our Apocaflix chat. I said the reason it works so much is because Matt Reeves is a character director. Mm-hmm. We saw what he did with the Planet of the Apes movies. he is able to capture characters inside of a massive scope, which very few guys can do. There's very few guys on this earth that can do that with the size of films that he's been able to do. That's why Cloverfield works so much. He directed Cloverfield back in the day. And so it just gets me really excited. No matter how big the role is, having him play Alfred, whether you like it or not, you're going to get a killer performance from him.
It's going to be wild.
And you counter him with Robert Pattinson. Those two together, that's awesome. I'm so into this. Into this.
It'll be interesting. It's definitely not your standard Alfred. It's not going to be like...
But they've been kind of doing that lately. We saw that with Gotham, and then they're doing Pennyworth on Epix, the show.
So it'll be interesting. It's hard to say, like, oh, he's going to be, like, boring, or oh, he's going to be crazy, because Andy Serkis can do anything.
Oh, yeah.
He can literally do anything. So, I'm not... is it my first choice that I'm like, oh, he'd be a good Alfred? No. Am I upset by it? No, because what can't Andy Serkis do? So,
he probably would have won an Oscar already if it wasn't for the Academy not accepting motion capture performances.
Yeah.
He probably would have won for his performance as Caesar in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which was 2016, I think.
Yeah.
So that was 4 years ago, essentially. He's going to have an Oscar on his mantle.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
Venom 2.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
Here we go.
No, I'm not one of those. Don't even try with me.
So if you had a toss up, and I know that he's essentially almost going to be Alfred. It's the final negotiations and stuff. And you seem okay with this. Would you rather have Pierce Brosnan, the other rumored name?
I just think of Pierce Brosnan like the 007, like the slick,
that's fair.
The quiet, like where he was just so slick. So, and I think he kind of would have been cool off like Robert Pattinson, how like he's just kind of like this slick butler.
Totally. Well, Pierce Brosnan has done those type of movies before, where he's kind of played like the older agent who is like almost mentoring.
Yeah.
In a way, and they're more than likely to give Alfred. Again, a war type background.
Oh, he'll have something.
They've been like I said, they've been doing that a lot lately. With
you're not going to cast Andy Serkis and not do anything.
Exactly, they're going to give him something to do. It'll probably be a la Jeremy Irons, maybe not as heavily involved, because that's like a Zack Snyder thing to do.
Yeah.
But he'll definitely be. It's going to be like a mixture of like the Batman and Robin Alfred and Jeremy Irons Alfred. It's going to be like a nice little middle, which is very cool to have Andy Serkis play that.
Yeah. So, would I have loved to see Pierce Brosnan? Yeah. Because it would have been kind of dope. Just him. Mm-hmm. They could have had him be like an ex-spy or something like that. Cool. Which would have been cool, but I'm not going to knock Andy Serkis at all. Like, they know what they're doing. Matt Reeves knows who he's casting at this point, and he's worked with him before, so he knows what he's going to get. So I'm not going to knock that.
Totally.
Our second one is that Colin Farrell, of all people, a name you don't hear enough.
No, God, no.
And Jake says this a lot, too, and I completely agree, is going to potentially play Oswald Cobblepot, a.k.a. the Penguin. Probably one of the most out-of-the-blue castings I'm going to say in a while. Like, when you think of Penguin, you think of short, stubby, or...
You think of Jonah Hill.
Something like...
Exactly what you think of.
Yeah,
Danny DeVito, because he played him back in the day.
Yeah, something... But Colin Farrell is the one rumored to be taking on...
I'm so stoked it's a different Penguin. It's such a different Penguin.
It's funny because at first I was like, what? And then I was like, that character's kind of always been a joke. If you kind of make him like... It's funny because I was on Twitter and people were like, sexy penguin! Like, they're all like, oh, slick penguin.
He is one of the most beautiful human beings in Hollywood, man.
Yeah.
That guy is good looking.
Yeah, so, that could be kind of cool. Like, make Penguin, like, a slick, Rick, good-looking gangster leader that maybe got shot in the leg at some point during doing something, and that's why he has the limp. That's okay.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need him squawking and sounding like an actual penguin or chubby and making him look like a penguin. Just give him some dope gangster backstory, which gives him the limp, and people call him Penguin. I mean, if I'm correct, Penguin doesn't really even like to be called Penguin.
They call him Copperpot.
Yeah, so, I mean, like, you don't really even need to call him Penguin. Like you said, you can call him Cobblepot or something.
Yeah, they don't use... we've seen that in superhero movies a lot lately over the past, 5-6 years. They don't really use their superhero name.
No.
Like Captain America, they don't ever call him Captain America outside of the media. They call him Cap. Or they never really called Iron Man outside of the media. They called him Tony.
Yeah.
And so, I have no doubt... I mean, he may very well be called Penguin. He could just take on the surname of Penguin, but they can also just easily just call him Oswald.
Yeah, like it could easily just be something like he got arrested and the cops are like, "Hey, look at the Penguin."
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that be like the end of it.
Exactly. You mentioned it. I've been saying it for a very, very long time. Colin Farrell is probably the most underrated actor in Hollywood.
Why? I don't.
He doesn't get enough credit. He really doesn't, and he has been in some pretty crappy movies in the past. But I mean, look at Daredevil. He was the best part of that movie.
100%.
You look at something like True Detective Season 2. That show is unwatchable for 10 episodes if he's not in that show. You can't watch that season without watching him, or you can't watch the season and go through those episodes if he's not in the show. Like, he makes the show watchable.
I thought he was easily one of the best parts of Fantastic Beasts, the original.
He probably is the best part of it.
Yeah.
And they did and we're going to get to some of this later, but
ironic.
They did a very bad thing in essentially making him Johnny Depp, which sucks. We'll get to that later, though. It like the Alfred stuff, it's a very different type of casting. But
this is almost a different type. It's not your mother's Batman.
Well, and this is what I was kind of gonna mention is that I love that directors are taking the properties that we grew up with as far as comic books go, and Batman, Tony, something like Joker with what Todd Phillips did, and they're essentially being like, okay, I have this character, but I want to tell my own version of it, which is what comics have done for decades. Different creators have taken the character of Batman or Captain America or Deadpool or even someone like Lex Luthor, and they've done different stories with them with different backgrounds, different people around them. Why can't filmmakers do the same thing?
Absolutely.
I understand that with villains, we want to see the villain on screen because we don't see them as much as the heroes. But that doesn't mean it's not going to be good. This is the same thing we got into on the Padawan about fandom. Mm-hmm. The fandom about doing an exact representation of that character is a little out of hand. It's ridiculous. And so,
I mean, there are your untouchable characters.
Yes, but you can also put a spin on them that would make it good, because you have to understand that they're two different mediums. This isn't a comic book. This is a movie. And they want to make the movie that they want to make, then they should be allowed to. And so I'm happy that he's being cast in this movie. Would I have liked to have seen him in a bigger role? Sure, but we don't know what kind of role it's going to be.
I mean, there's a lot of characters in this. I have a feeling they're just going to all be there, and eventually they're going to show up.
Well, I have a good feeling that the three of the villains might be actually working together. Penguin, Riddler, and Catwoman.
If it's going off of Long Halloween, which I just read, it's going to be kind of freaking dope.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Did you finish reading it?
Not yet.
Did you start it?
Not yet.
I could see how they would use it, and when you read it, you'll be like, oh, that'd be kind of sick.
Yeah.
Like how they do it. But yeah, no, he's great. We're in an age, I feel like we've started to really dive into the diversified, not traditional stuff, and people are kind of all for it.
Well,
now.
It started with Pattinson as Batman.
I would say started with.
For this movie. The Twilight guy is Batman. Yeah. Everybody was up in arms. I was saying it for a long time. He's going to be Batman.
I don't know if everyone was. I feel like
the average audience was up in arms.
Yeah,
people inside the business understand because what we do, because we see his acting ability.
Yeah,
but people outside of it are like the guy from Twilight.
Yeah,
they never saw Good Time. They never saw The Rover. They never saw any of those movies that never touched the screen.
I haven't seen very many of his stuff. Period, and I was still sweet. Yeah. And Jacob is super defensive of him now. Shout out Jacob. He's like, so I think someone the other day said something about Pattinson, and he was like,
him and Keith.
Yeah, and he was like, I just watched Lighthouse and he was awesome, and you better not say anything bad about him. So, I mean, like, he knows what he's doing. I just watched something, too, that he was in. Oh, The King.
Oh, yeah.
He was...
He's going to win an Oscar one day. 100%.
Matt Reeves knows who he's casting and knows what he's doing. And this, I don't think, is going to be your traditional Batman. He's going to be a detective trying to figure stuff.
Traditional movie Batman.
This
will be
true. Yeah,
this will be the most comic true Batman we'll ever get.
Yeah, true. Good point. But I'm all for these two, especially Colin Farrell. Like that one interests me probably more than.
Well, he's just down for all the stuff, which makes it cool.
Yeah,
like because all in all, I mean, it could have like Jonah Hill could very well have been going up for this.
I'm so glad Jonah Hill's not in this movie.
See, I thought this movie would have killed with him, but. If he was going for Penguin, he was asking for $10 million, which is more than Robert
only
Pattinson.
Getting $5.
And so, I could see Colin Farrell be like, Matt Reeves, Penguin, the Batman. Give me $1 million, I'll be there. I'm not that.
The
little,
other actors that are in this too.
He's just a guy who's like, yeah, hell yeah, I'll do it.
I mean, what else is he doing right now? He's not.
But I mean, well, he's involved a lot. But
I know. But
you know what I'm saying, though.
But I mean, I'm all for it. I mean. If you read The Long Halloween, you'll understand why there's so many of these characters in it, and I'm so down for it if they do it this way, because that comic was amazing, and if they can put that on, I literally read it in one day. I've never done that with the comic, and if they can translate that with these caliber of actors on the big screen, not even like exactly, but like how it flows with all these, man, are we in for something special. So, but yeah, so I mean, that's the Batman news, our DC news for the day.